When you start believing in yourself, everything changes. It feels like a hidden switch has been turned on inside you. Your eyes show certainty, your voice sounds stronger, and your presence alone shifts the air around you. Out of nowhere, you move with so much determination that the world can't help but answer back. People who see you may think it's luck or some trick, but it isn't. It's self-trust. And when this confidence wakes up, it almost feels unfair. You handle problems with calm, walk through storms without losing yourself, and reach your goals with a clear mind that surprises everyone. They whisper, "Where did this come from? How did he get this power? Just yesterday, he looked so lost." The truth is that this strength was always inside you. It was only asleep. That's when Stoic wisdom steps in, training the mind not to be a prisoner of doubt, but to rise a little more each day. Because confidence isn't magic, it isn't luck, and it isn't something you are simply given. Confidence is built with discipline, with constant practice, with the decision to be bigger than your fears. And that's exactly what you'll learn here: how to silence insecurity, rebuild your inner trust, and walk away from this video knowing deep down that you are ready to live the life you dream of. But before we dive in, I'll ask you for two things. Press the like button and subscribe to the channel so this message reaches more people who also need to take action. Now let's begin with the first step. Step 1. Work on yourself to rise above the ordinary. The worst weakness is not the danger outside, but the one you allow to grow inside, comfort that makes you stop trying. It doesn't shout, it doesn't frighten, but little by little it drains your energy until one day you see that you lived far below what you could have. Living halfway is sneaky. It wears the mask of routine, of ease, of excuses that sound harmless. You don't notice when it begins, but suddenly you are caught in the same loop, repeating the same days and convincing yourself that this is normal. It's like a pond without waves. From far away it looks peaceful, but under the water dirt piles up and life slowly disappears. The longer you stay still, the harder it is to look beyond the surface. And maybe you already felt that heavy feeling, that inner voice telling you that you could do more but remaining stuck where you are. Every time you accept less than what you could be, you add another lock to this hidden cage. Think of a bird raised behind bars. It never saw skies beyond the cage. When the door finally opens, it hesitates to leave, not because it has no wings, but because its mind learned to stay inside. Many people live the same way, limited by small patterns that exist only because they never dared to believe in themselves. The Stoics taught that greatness is not magic, it is training. It is not about sitting and waiting for life to change you, but about deciding once and for all that you won't live on autopilot anymore. So if you sense that mediocrity is around you, ask yourself honestly, where have I settled? Maybe at work, doing only enough not to get scolded. Maybe with your body, pushing away the changes you already know you must make. Maybe in your thoughts, repeating the same ideas that don't take you anywhere. The way out is not waiting for some perfect inspiration, but acting right now. Small moves can break the pattern. 5 minutes of exercise when you feel like resting, finishing that task you've avoided for months, making that decision you already know is waiting for you. Mediocrity can only exist where you agree with it. Real trust doesn't come from staying cozy, but from moving forward. The chance to break away from the ordinary is not in the future. It is this very moment. Write in the comments, "Today I erase mediocrity from my life." Because choosing weakness is choosing to stay small. But when you act, even with tiny steps, you choose to leave the cage, cross the still pond, and recover the confidence of someone who decided never to accept less than they can be. Step 2. The Stoic key to transform fear into real confidence. The lack of trust almost never arrives as something huge. Sometimes it begins with a comment that hurts too much, a mistake you couldn't erase, or a comparison that cut deep. Slowly, these small wounds turn into an invisible wall, and you start convincing yourself that you can't do it. When that happens, your mind starts twisting the way you see tomorrow. You look ahead, and everything seems empty. No fresh chances, no open doors. It feels like life is already written, that you will stay stuck in the same failures, repeating the same disappointments, carrying the same weight of helplessness. This is the most dangerous part of lacking confidence. It doesn't just drain your energy now, it also steals your ability to picture a better future. But the real root isn't in what happened. It's in where your attention goes. The more you stare at things you cannot change, like what people think, what they say, or how they judge, the more you drift away from your own power. The Stoics understood this long ago. Epictetus said, "It's not the events themselves that upset us, but the thoughts we build about them. What weakens you isn't the fall itself, but the story you keep telling yourself about it." And here is the door. Even if no one hands you confidence, you can build it. It doesn't need claps, it doesn't need approval. It grows from the actions that are yours alone. Begin simple. Study harder than most. Practice beyond what's asked. Spend more time on what makes you stronger. Tiny steps repeated often become your first real win. And that win changes the whole game, because confidence is not a gift. It is proof you create for yourself. A single result, even if small, generates a push forward. That push sparks motion, sparks energy, sparks a whole new chapter. And if you keep this cycle alive, one victory after another, you turn solid, like stone. Keep this truth. You don't need 100 medals to begin, you only need one. One victory already lights the fire of confidence. The secret is to guard this flame, feed it daily, because in it lives the force that can reshape your path. Drop a fire emoji in the comments as a mark of the confidence flame you've chosen to keep alive from today. Step 3. Train your mind to live with discipline. Mind. How many times have you sworn you would change, start exercising, begin studying, or stop wasting time, only to quit after a few days? Few things hurt more than noticing you can't trust your own word. Every time this happens, your mind takes note. What I say I'll do, I don't complete. And when this record repeats, confidence falls apart. The road back is discipline. Imagine discipline like a trust account. Every promise you keep is like putting money in. Every excuse you make is like taking money out. If the balance is low, you hesitate, you trip yourself up, you lose belief in yourself. If the balance is high, you move forward with strength, because there's proof, not just wishes. A river doesn't cut through a rock because of force, but because it never stops running. Discipline is that steady flow. Small steps, done again and again, open doors where it once seemed blocked. It's not about looking impressive, it's about being constant. It's not about luck, it's about having a clear direction. The Stoics called this self-mastery. Real self-respect doesn't come from pretty sayings, but from living what's right, especially when it would be easier to give in. The confidence you want doesn't cause discipline, it grows out of it. When you stand by what you decided, your mind learns, I can rely on myself. That's why Marcus Aurelius said, a person without discipline has no love or respect for themselves, because they accept living below what they are capable of. Picture someone with amazing talent, someone who could reach high levels, but who refuses to give steady effort. They start a task with fire but quit as soon as things get hard. They make big plans but trade them for cheap distractions. What could have been great becomes another broken promise. It's like taking money out of an account without ever putting any in. Sooner or later, the account hits zero, and so does self-confidence. And the harsh truth is this: the obstacle is not the world, but the person themselves. Lack of discipline robs you not only of victories on the outside, but also of inner respect, and the deep knowing that you could have done more. Once self-disrespect quietly moves in, it eats away at you, not because you lack gifts, but because you lack steadiness. Without discipline, you undercut yourself and shrink. But every time you keep a promise, even when no one sees it, you add a coin to your trust account. Slowly, the amount grows, and along with it grows the certainty that you can carry through with any dream. Discipline is not punishment. It is the highest form of respect for who you chose to be. And the more you live by that respect, the less the world can shake you, because inside, you are already steady as stone. In the end, it isn't confidence that creates discipline. It is discipline that creates confidence. Step 4. When you let go of the result, life begins to flow. The greatest obstacle to your success is not failing, but clinging to the outcome. Since childhood, we were taught to measure our worth by what we win, not by what we discover along the way. A low grade was never just missing a few questions, it turned into, "I'm terrible at math." A rejection was never just that the other person couldn't say yes, it became, "I have no value." This twisted way of seeing things follows us throughout life. You give your energy to a project, and if it doesn't move forward, you decide, "I'm useless at this." You talk to someone and hear a no and instantly think, "I'm not worthy." The pain is not in the fact itself, but in the weight you tie to the result. Real confidence doesn't come from one lucky success. It grows from repeating something over and over. Are you nervous when you brush your teeth? Of course not. Why? Because you've already done it thousands of times. It's steady practice, repeated day after day, that builds unshakable confidence. And the same rule applies in every area of life. When you stop holding so tightly to the outcome and instead focus on steady repetition, everything changes. It's no longer, "I need this to work so I can prove my worth," but instead, "I will keep repeating until I get strong, until I get skilled." At this point, the control is no longer in luck or chance, but in your own hands, in the study hours you invest, in the drills you do, in the conversations you dare to start, in the books you read, in the actions you practice daily. And inside this is real freedom. Acting just for the sake of acting, helping just for the sake of helping, creating just for the joy of creating, without waiting for claps, grades, or approval. As the Bhagavad Gita teaches, you are allowed to act, but not to claim the fruits. Real trust grows when you find calm in the process itself, not in the prize at the end. Think about it. If success is measured not by praise but by the number of steps you take toward what truly matters, then you will never be chained to results. You will be free to grow, free to act, free to shape yourself into who you want to become. Begin to shift this way of seeing things in your mind. Place your trust in the journey, not in the outcome, because each time you release your grip on the reward, you gain the strength to move forward with clarity and freedom. Step 5. Whatever you do, remember, you don't wait to be in order to act. You do something in order to become someone. This is the rule that turns wishes into real life. First, you take action, and only later do you grow into that identity. The mistake many people make is thinking backwards. When I feel brave, I will move. When I succeed, I will act like a winner. But reality doesn't work like this. If you wait to have everything before beginning, you never even take the first step. The correct path is different. You act, you keep going, you stand firm, and then the identity follows. So every day, ask yourself the most important question. This step, this idea, this choice, are they in line with the person I want to become? If yes, then you are walking the right way. If not, fix your stance right away, because each move you make is like laying one more brick in the house of your best self. The Bible itself shows this truth clearly. In Matthew it says, "The one who has will receive even more, and they will live in abundance. The one who has nothing will lose even the little they had." This isn't just about money or possessions. It's about a law that rules all movement. Whoever already acts gains more energy to act. Whoever trains discipline finds more chances to grow. Whoever begins something attracts more flow. But the one who hides, who freezes in fear, who waits for the perfect moment to begin. This person ends up losing what little they had because standing still eats away at everything. It works like a muscle. Use it, and it grows stronger. Leave it unused, and it becomes weak. Life follows the same rule. Small actions, done again and again, multiply. What you ignore fades away. Here lies the secret. Don't wait for courage to move. Move to find courage. Don't wait for willpower to show up. Start first and the willpower will wake up. Action is the seed, and each time you plant, life answers back. For the Stoics, no one is born ready. What points the way is knowing clearly who you want to be. It's not about imagining a perfect picture, but setting a measure of honor, strength, discipline, and honesty that acts like a compass, steering every step and every choice. That is why identity doesn't come before movement. It grows out of it. You live as the person you wish to be, and slowly, step by step, you turn into that person. In the end, it is not waiting that creates change. It is doing. The tomorrow you dream about does not start in the future. It already began in the way you live today. Step 6. Change how you see yourself. The picture you carry of yourself decides how far you will walk. This is your self-image. The story you believe about who you are, shaped by your principles, by the choices you make, and by the words you keep repeating in your head each day. The real danger is this. If you don't choose clearly who you want to become, the world around you will choose for you. Think of self-image as a special promise you make with yourself, like a personal contract that cannot be broken. It says, "These are the things I will do daily, because they belong to who I am." It doesn't matter if you feel tired. It doesn't matter what people think. If it's written in the contract, you stick to it. This kind of loyalty to yourself is what builds true confidence. When your thoughts, your words, and your actions walk in the same direction, you can finally say, "I trust me." One of the biggest roots of insecurity is not falling or failing, but being out of sync, feeling one thing, saying another, and then behaving in the opposite way. This split inside you eats away at your self-worth faster than any insult from outside. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance, and it steals self-confidence like a thief in the night. So confidence doesn't come from pretty phrases, but from solid steps. You don't have to sit and wait for motivation before acting. Instead, you move first, and motivation shows up after. Imagine waking up heavy, drained, with zero will to do anything. If you wait for energy to come on its own, you'll stay stuck the whole day. But if you decide to act like the person you want to be, get up, finish a task, stay faithful to your own contract, your feelings shift, strength rises, confidence grows, and your mind learns, "I can trust myself." This is the power of self-image. You don't need to prove yourself to the crowd. You only need to show yourself that you stay true to what you chose to become. And if this truth speaks to you, say it clearly. My promise is with me, because every single time you act in line with your identity, you fortify a confidence that no one else can break. But there is a catch. If you've been trying for a long time to get out of conformism and ignorance, and you can't seem to do it, maybe it's for other reasons that you don't know what's causing it. But I know what it is. It's anxiety. Anxiety comes like a silent snake and poisons you without you feeling it. It leaves you infected for days, months, and even years, and if you have it, it would be like living sick. However, there is an antidote from the Stoics, which together with modern psychology can rid you of all this, just as it did me. I made a video showing how you can get rid of this poison in your life. It's in the first comment. Click on the link in the first comment and cure yourself of this anxiety poison. Step 7. Rebuild your beliefs. Often the greatest enemy is not out in the world, but inside your own thoughts. It's that inner voice that shows up when you fail, when you are turned away, or when you mess something up, and it whispers, "You are useless. You will never succeed." That voice feels believable, But it isn't the truth. It's only a twisted echo, a lie told so many times that your mind started treating it as real. Think of it like a smoke alarm that is too sensitive. It screams even when there is no fire. You make one mistake and the alarm blares, "Don't try again." Someone rejects you and the alarm shrieks, "Stay hidden forever." Its goal is to shield you, but the result is that it cages you. Your brain doesn't care about your joy. What it wants most is to keep you alive, and if it links an action with pain, it builds a wall called a limiting belief. A limiting belief is like a hidden chain. You can still walk, but you will never move very far. The cruelest thing is that this chain was not built from facts, but from the story you attach to them. Think carefully. Freezing during a speech does not mean you can't speak in front of people. It only means you need stronger practice. A broken relationship does not mean you will never be loved. It only means the lesson was to show you how to grow into deeper love. The suffering isn't in the event, but in the label you stick onto it. That is the secret. The Stoic thinkers already knew this. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Our life becomes what our thoughts shape it to be." The inner critic that cuts you down is not reality. It's just a thought repeated so much that you swallowed it. The way to break free is clear and powerful. First, spot the feeling. Ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling right now? Fear of rejection, shame because I failed, anger because I lost control. Naming the feeling is like lighting a candle in a pitch-dark cave. Suddenly you can see what had power over you without your knowing. Second, trace it back. When was the very first time you felt this? Maybe when you were a child and someone mocked you. Maybe when you failed and it left a scar. This memory is not your true self today, but if you ignore it, it will keep steering your steps in silence. Third, retell the story. Every failure can be described in two different ways, as a punishment or as a lesson. If you stumbled in public, it doesn't mean you will always be bad at it. It only means you either need more preparation or that the event showed you where to improve. The reality is the same, but the story you give it changes everything. Fourth, transform it. Pain is full of energy, and you can let it crush you or let it fuel you. Instead of letting mistakes punish you, turn them into sparks that drive you forward. Say to yourself, "This toughened me, this trained me. This prepared me for what's next." It is like taking the bricks of a prison and using them to build a fortress. It is like turning a wound into a shield. What once made you ashamed now becomes the mark of your strength. In the end, it comes down to one thing. What story will you tell yourself? The story can lock you in chains, or it can become the trampoline that lifts you. It can break you apart, or it can forge you stronger. The decision is in your hands. Drop a key emoji as a sign that today you opened the door that your old beliefs had kept shut. Step 8. Train your competence and merit. Believing in yourself stands on two strong bases: knowing you are skilled and knowing you are worthy. You trust yourself when you can honestly say, "I know how to handle this." You also trust when you feel, "I worked hard enough to earn this." What knocks these bases down is not only the mistake itself, but the way you choose to explain it. Picture this. You wave at someone on the street, they don't wave back, and in seconds your thoughts explode. Did I do something wrong? Am I not important? The problem wasn't the moment itself, it was the story you invented about it. The same thing happens in bigger moments, like giving a talk at work. You freeze, forget something, and walk away thinking it was awful. Instead of calmly noticing, "I didn't prepare enough," or "this subject doesn't inspire me," or "today I just wasn't sharp," you turn it into a blanket belief. "I have no courage. I can't do this. I'm just bad at it." When you keep repeating those kinds of conclusions, they stop being simple thoughts and start becoming part of how you see yourself. It's like building your self-confidence puzzle with all the wrong pieces. Each rejection, each harsh word, Each mistake explained the wrong way becomes another piece that fits in. And after years of building like this, the picture that shows up is twisted, unfinished, and full only of failures. Science also shows this is how it works. Professor Jerome Kagan from Harvard found that all children are born naturally open and friendly. It is through hurtful moments, wrong ideas, and mistaken explanations that insecurity grows. The brain, trying to protect you, stores these bad memories and builds an automatic system, thoughts filled with fear. It won't work. You'll fail. Don't even try. Not because you are weak, but because your brain got trained to connect action with danger. It's like living inside a prison cell that has no bars. Nothing truly holds you inside except the fear you taught yourself to obey. The Stoic philosophers spoke about this long ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you suffer because of something outside you, the pain doesn't come from the thing itself, but from how you judge it, and you can change that judgment whenever you choose. Your self-confidence is not broken by facts, but by the way you explain those facts to yourself." This is one of the biggest teachings of Stoicism. The power of judgment decides if an event becomes a prison or a lesson. The very same moment can look like a shameful failure or a valuable class. The difference isn't in what happened, but in the lens you used to see it. If your mind is a maze where every sign points to losing, you might have the exit right in front of you and still miss it. When you make a mistake and tell yourself, "I'm no good at this," your judgment traps you. But when you say, "That was tough, but I can learn and get better," your judgment sets you free. It's the same event, only told in two different ways, and this is the exact point where you must take action. Stop allowing the story that weakens you to continue. Choose to rebuild your belief in yourself on what is real. Mistakes are not proof that you are useless, they are lessons on the road. Skill is built through practice, and being deserving comes from effort, both things that are fully in your hands. Write in the comments, "Today I choose to be worthy." Because every time you shift your judgment, you take back a piece of your inner strength. Step 9. Stop repressing your true potential. Your biggest weakness is not being scared of mistakes. It's keeping hidden the power you already have. How many times have you kept quiet about an idea, avoided speaking, avoided acting, just because you thought you weren't good enough? This constant silence makes your world smaller, and with it your trust in yourself also shrinks. But look closer. Inside you, there is already everything needed to begin. The real problem is that you got used to staring only at your slips and forgot to notice the gifts you carry. It's like a person sitting on a box full of tools while complaining there's nothing to build with. Strength doesn't appear out of nowhere. It comes alive when you move. Every time you face something difficult, every time you step forward, even while afraid, you wake up a part of yourself that was asleep. This is how real trust grows, not from waiting for safety, but from acting and showing yourself that you can. The Stoics understood this. They didn't measure their value by their titles, but by the courage to stay true to their own virtues when times were hard. Their confidence wasn't a treasure they inherited, it was a muscle they trained. And the same is true for you. Fate does not decide who you are. Your repeated choices do. Think about it. If until now you have lived hiding what is best in you, imagine what can happen once you let that strength out. Imagine the life you can create when you stop waiting for permission and start stepping forward with firmness. It doesn't matter how long you waited. A single clear decision can turn everything. What once looked like weakness can change into power. What once felt like a wall can become the start of your path. Belief in yourself does not come from waiting for others to see your worth. It comes from being living proof of your own strength. And if these words touched you, write in the comments, "Today, I release my true power." Because the hardest prison is the one you build when you choose to shrink. Accepting crumbs while inside, you exists an endless universe of possibilities. And real freedom is lifting your head, acting like someone who was born to be great. and proving to yourself that nothing can truly hold you back. If you reach the end, leave your like, share this, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for being here.